Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. As always, I have got so much to talk about that I want to get straight into it. But before I do that, I do need to mention some great articles that were written recently by Price of Business contributors, and I want to strongly encourage you to check them out. Some very good information there. Delighted to have on for us, and that, again, is over at priceofbusiness.com. And delighted to have one of our relatively new contributors on the Price of Business, Jane Henry, and she is with the great company called Xcution. And how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Glad to have you on. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about the great work over there at your firm, what you do over there at Xcution.
You bet.
And that, by the way, for the listener, that's the letter X, Cution.com.
So, Kevin, as you know, we are about taking the politics out of change. And recently here, a lot of our Fortune 100 companies have hired us to work with the small to mid-tier businesses to help them scale their business. And what we're telling everybody with some of the techniques we're using, that we're looking at 20 to 30%, but a lot of times that is a much larger growth, taking some of the operational techniques that we've learned from the corporations.
So basically what you do is you help businesses maximize efficiencies and really take themselves to the next level. And that's kind of a cliche, but literally that's what you guys do.
Absolutely. And a lot of times it's that combination of looking at that people, process, and system approach in their operations, and inevitably it's themselves that are getting in the way, and it's just a great conversation around that.
So typically, when people get to you, they're not happy with how things are going in their business. Typically, you're not the vendor people go to celebrate. They go to because they see some things that are going wrong in their corporation. What's usually the typical situation that brings you in?
Well, and that the way you said it was perfect. We either get called in for one of two situations. One, there's a reoccurring problem, and they're just tired of it, and they're ready to kind of move beyond it. And that might be, for instance, maybe the sales team really isn't performing to the level that they want to perform at. And we'll go in and we'll talk to them about some of the measures and getting that rolling. Another way they can bring us in is if they have a really fantastic idea and they do not know how to commercialize it. So my best example is of an individual that had this great idea to bring onshore plays to the United States, and he kept going by and talking to his boss, and basically he needed a lot of money, and he needed some technology, and he needed people, and we were able to structure that or frame out that business plan so that he could get everything he needed.
Very good, very good. What is kind of give us a profile of the type of companies that you work with typically?
So most of our businesses to date have been the Fortune 100 companies, and oil and gas. We have broken into healthcare as well. But with this push, because what's happening in the world is that most of the companies are held accountable for spending a certain amount of money in local content, which means that they need to spend money on medium to smaller sized businesses. And we haven't had that in the United States. We've had different programs. So there's a gigantic push right now to really put those programs in place for the United States.
Very good, very good. And so you kind of covered, so really it's kind of the size of the company is almost more important than the vertical.
Absolutely. And the reason being is it's much like, and I hate to say it because there's all sort of political beliefs around it, like government programs, they really want to make sure that there is a reach back happening. So they're looking at scaling these businesses to a certain size so that they're leveraging local vendors and resources from the community. Okay.
So what would you say is a small size business for your range?
Well,
and what is the actual sweet spot?
Well, the difference, some of the So it depends on the communities that they're trying to impact. So right now, as a lot of people know, and it's a hot political issue as well, women business owners are very, very important to the corporation. And for them, there's something like 75% of the women business owners in Houston are at a 1 million or below. So they're looking at some doesn't take a lot of time, come in and analyze the business for a day and then talk about the changes and then hold them accountable from getting from 1 to more in the $5 to $10 million ranges. We also have programs where if maybe they're in the 10 to 20, now it's really about talking about introducing different economies of scale, where we're talking about technologies and, or it could be a people solution. So one of our favorite solutions right now is a lot of the business intelligence solutions that are readily available for folks.
So how are things for your company in 2015?
Really good. Surprises. I mean, of course, oil and gas and having the price of oil drop like it didn't help anybody. But the neat thing is it really had us push into this new realm with the procurement team and helping them really think about spending their money or investment dollars wisely. And it hits well into a passion of mine, which is just helping small to medium-sized businesses take that next level. Very good,
very good. So for the listener out there who might be in a business that is in the realm of the type of companies you address, kind of give them some food for thought as far as some questions they should ask themselves, whether or not they could use services like yours.
Absolutely. So one question they might ask themselves is, are they finding themselves starting to not love their business anymore? Maybe there's a particular person or there's a particular function of their business, and it just frustrates them. I want them to know that that's common and okay, and there are ways to get out of that. Another is maybe they have something they do in their business, and it's a process, but it's taking them a lot of time. Well, then that's a great idea time to evaluate some technologies, because how I communicate to our clients is technologies just do processes faster. So that may be an opportunity to scale. And then we also look at organizational structures or design. So if they're looking at maybe delegating some of the decisions that they make to other people in their organizations, we help them through that process.
Okay, so that wraps up the segment with Jane Henry. By the way, you can learn more about her at Xcution. It's exactly like it sounds. The letter X, Xcution, Cution.com. But you got some great guests lined up. That's this is an excellent segment. We don't usually get this opportunity to have this one-on-one chat, but you've got some great guests in the works. Why don't you kind of whet the listeners' appetite with who you've got lined up?
Thank you, Kevin. Oh, sorry, were you asking about who I have lined up?
Yeah, who do you have lined up? I know you have a great show coming up very soon, in fact.
Oh, yes. Deb Schneider with Genesis. She does video conferencing capabilities. She's amazing and a huge giver back into the community.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to that and other great segments. And again, learn more about Jane over at Xcution.com. I'm Kevin Price. You're listening to The Price of Business. I want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While they're like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.